You are not stuck. Your thoughts are. Most people think they are stuck because of their circumstances. No money, a bad relationship, no confidence. But it's not the circumstances that's the real problem. It's the thinking mind behind it. Because the thinking mind can keep you distracted, like a fly trapped on a window that cannot see the open space around it. And until you become aware of it, your mind keeps recreating the same experiences in your life over and over and over again. Till you change it, of course. And that's what I call breaking your self reinforcing thought loop. So, if you want to know why some people crush it, while others struggle their whole life overthinking, over analyzing, you definitely want to watch this video where we tell you how to step out of it. In a moment, I'm going to break down exactly how this thought loop works. And then I will share 5 simple things I personally use to quiet the thinking mind and step back into clarity. So let's dive in. So the question is, what is a thought loop? A thought loop is a repetitive cycle of thoughts that triggers a certain emotion. And the emotion triggers a certain behavior, and then you have an experience in the world. So how does this work? You have a cluster of thoughts. When you have one thought, a lot of the times it triggers more thoughts of the same category. And when you have a cluster of thoughts, it keeps on looping the same thought over and over again in the same direction. The question is, what is the problem with this? Because your brain takes a snapshot. And a snapshot is basically when your nervous system takes a fast internal picture of what happened, for example, what the situation meant to you, what you felt in your body at that moment, and what you did to survive or to cope with that certain situation. Now, why is this so important? Your body saves a blueprint, like, okay, when life feels like this, then you do this. Because the body's main job, it's not happiness, it's survival and efficiency. So basically it tries to 1. Predict danger faster next time. Number 2. Avoid repeating some pain you are feeling. Or 3 is it's trying to respond automatically without thinking. And that is why repeated thinking becomes an automatic program. And therefore, if you think the same fears based on the same story often enough, your body learns this is a threat. This emotion belongs here. And this reaction keeps me safe. And then it stores it. So it takes the snapshot. And the question is, why is this so important? Because when you repeat the same thought patterns over and over again, your body starts to associate them with certain emotions and physical experiences, what you can see right here. And over time, it becomes a conditioned response. So then you could automatically get triggered into a feeling like an anxious feeling, or you're feeling sad, without even noticing the thought that started the emotion. Because when you repeat the same thoughts patterns, you see like here you have a cluster of thoughts, then you're feeling a certain emotion like fear, like anxiety, or like stress, but it can also be happy emotion, of course. And when you feel this anxiety, stress, or fear, your body gets emotionally conditioned by repeated thinking. And that gives your body a feeling of control. Because a lot of people say, I don't like it that I feel like this. Why is my body repeating this thought pattern? And why do I feel these emotions? And this is because it gives your body a feeling of control, a feeling of certainty when you keep looping that thought. Because you live in a situation where something is unpredictable, but when you keep on looping your thoughts, it feels for your body like it has certainty. And when your body creates some fear, anxiety, stress, it creates some emotions, then it starts with the behavior. So How do you react when you feel a certain emotion? Do you freeze? Do you fight, or do you flight? And your body starts to associate these feelings, these emotions, thoughts with certain emotions and physical experiences. Over time, it becomes a conditioned response. You do it over and over again. So then you could automatically get triggered into a feeling of anxious or sad or stress without even noticing the thought that started it. So you go right into the emotion before you even have a thought of it. So you can think of it like this. You wake up in the morning and then suddenly you feel that stressful feeling in your body, in your chest. That is what the thought loop can do with your body. It is so automatic that you don't even have to think about it. So at that moment, the emotion becomes the driver. So you start acting from fear. You start acting from survival mode. And you have become addicted to a certain emotion. And even negative emotions you can become addicted to. And this is not because we as people like suffering. No. So in simple words, it means that even without anything happening in the moment, your body can automatically respond with the same stress, with the same fear, with the same sadness, simply because it's been trained by this self-reinforcing cycle, that automatic program that's running on the background. So this is really important that you get this, and so write this down. It's because the emotion is familiar. The emotion is predictable for your analytical mind. And of course, our analytical mind loves to predict, because this means you can take the safest option to survive, right? So anxiety, guilt, anger, sadness, these emotions become like the body's normal chemistry. So why is this so dangerous? And I like to explain it as the following. Unconscious patterns, the automatic patterns, is like driving your car home while you are on the phone. So you are barely remember how you drove home because your mind was constantly busy with the conversation on the phone, right? While your system, your analytical of your automatic program was running on autopilot. And we all have these automatic programs. And this is great if you like your program, of course. But if you overthink a lot, or you have a lot of stress or negative emotions paired to the cluster of thoughts, that is when you get some problems, because that's when you are acting from survival mode a lot. You're feeling stressed, and it can really be a pain in the ass. So the most important question is, okay, I get this loop, but how can I change the program? You have to become aware of your automatic programs on your unconsciously running habits. And that can be really tough. So the question is, how do you break this chain of looping thoughts? How do you break this chain of looping emotions? And how can you make sure you don't feel the same emotions over and over and over again? I like to call this crossing the river. And this is where you feel the familiar emotions in your familiar life. This is where you are standing right now, and you want to get rid of that familiar emotions. So you want to cross the river, and the problem with this is the middle is uncomfortable, and your mind loves predictability. So you have to step out, and you need some stepping stones to step from the uncomfortable, from the familiar emotions in the middle, and that's uncomfortable, to the unknown. And what is the unknown? The unknown is the part where your mind can't predict. And of course, that's really scary, right? For your mind, because it always wants to predict, it always wants to keep you safe. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 things for you to get out overthinking mode. Maybe it's the anxiety mode, maybe it's something else, but I give you 5 things to get out of that thinking loop, what you have seen here. that you not only can change your thoughts, but you definitely gonna change your emotions. Because when you can break this pattern, this repetitive cycle, and you can become aware of your emotions, then you can have a different outcome, right? A different behavior and different experience. And the number one is name the thought habit. The most important thing I did when I had a looping thoughts and overthinking mode is to write it down. Write the thought that you are having at that moment, write it down. Because when you name it, you become conscious of the unconscious habit, of the unconscious thought, the unconscious emotion. And when you become aware of it, it gets easier and easier over time. And in the beginning, it's harder. And when you do it a lot, it becomes easier. That you write it down, rewrite the sentence what you do like. So you do X instead. I don't have enough money, for example. Then you write it down, I don't have enough money, and then you rewrite what you do want to have. So money is always coming easily to me. And every time you have that thought in your head, in your mind, in your system, you become aware of it. That is really important. Then the second thing is meditation. And meditation is really important because you train the brain like you teach a dog how to sit. So you train your mind that you are in control, that you are the boss of your thoughts. You will see that it becomes easier to become aware of those thoughts and let those thoughts drift by. Then we go to the thing number 3, and that is the breathing exercise. And I think this really helped me a lot, because if you focus on your breathing and if you focus on counting the breath, the inhale and the exhale, it becomes much easier to go out of your analytical mind. When you change your body, when you change your breathing in your body, because when you are breathing in and out, you cannot think at the same time. So when my mind is looping a lot, when my mind is overthinking, for me it helps me a lot to count the breathing, because I'm not able to think at that moment. The fourth thing I really recommend you to do is learn how to hum. And hum, everybody can hum, so you don't have to learn it, but it's really easy. Like you hum with a song, right? I put on a nice song, like a mantra with nice music, where I get a lot of nice emotions from, and then I hum with the song. And when you hum with the song, you cannot think either. So that's a really important thing, to get yourself out of the automatic pilot, automation that you are overthinking. And when you become aware of your thinking patterns, it becomes easier and easier to get out of it and to get into a new or breathing exercise or meditation, or you write it down, name the thought, is really practical. And then we have the last one, and that's number 5, the gratitude moment. So for me, it is when you have an overthinking mind, it is a lot of the times it is paired with negative emotions, like a situation from your past, like stress, like overthinking, like fear. And when you have fearful thoughts, it clusters it together. So one negative thought becomes the second negative thought, and before you know it, you have a cluster of negative thoughts. So the gratitude moment is a really nice exercise where you learn how to think positively. You're training your brain to see the upside instead of the downside, because when you have had a lot of trauma in your life, you have had negative situations, you always were living from your survival mode with the emotions, fear, stress, and anxiety. So you have also thoughts that are paired with that emotion. And when you have the gratitude moment, and I always start my day with a gratitude moment where you train yourself to be grateful for whatever you have that day or the day before. I always train my mind to be grateful for the food I had yesterday, for my family that is healthy, for my own health, for my family, my friends, for my dogs, for whatever you like, for how grateful you were for the depthful conversation you had with your friend. It doesn't matter. When you start gratitude moment, you train your brain to see the upside, to see positive things in your life. And this is so important because you raise your frequency, you raise your vibration, the emotions that are much better than the survival mode emotion that we are already were in. The question is, why is that so important? Because at that moment you feel new feelings, you feel new emotions. You start your day with positive emotions. It really makes a difference for me personally, because your feelings are equal to your emotions. And when you have good emotions, when you start your day off with the upside instead of the downside, it becomes much easier to get out of the negative thinking, get out of the overthinking mode. And these are 5 tips that I recommend you personally to start with. Keep it simple, keep it small, and start with small steps. And the first step I would recommend is that you name the thought, because then you become aware of the thoughts you have. And when you become aware of the thought enough of the time, you will see that it will be easier to get out of the automatic pilot from overthinking mode. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you like it. I hope you can use it. And please let me know in the comments below what you do at this moment to get out of your thinking mode or your anxiety, or what of the 5 things you use right now at this moment that is really helpful for you. So keep it the good work. See you in the next video and take care.